That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to Retro Fandango, episode number 254. I'm here. Richard's here.
I am here.
Eventually, Richard showed up. Eventually.
I know. I was fully prepared. Woke up nice and early today so I could prepare all my supplies. The only thing I was missing was an invite.
I know what happened. And
you know what happened.
The proof is in your email. Because I sent you an invite this morning after I set up the record, which I gotten in the habit to do. Right away, I just send Richard an invite. But X or Twitter or whatever has been a little wonky today. Checked on it a couple times today, and it has been down. So I'm guessing that my invite that I sent you did not go through. But when I saw that Twitter was having issues, I went to my email and I sent you another invite through there. And on it, it says, hey, Twitter's acting a little weird today, so I'm sending you this.
You sent me an actual email?
I sent you an email, like, this is 1998.
Oh my goodness. Hang on.
So
I gotta check this out.
It's there. It's an email. You've seen them. They happen. They occur.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
And it was tariff free. It doesn't charge you. It didn't cost you anything to look at it.
Twitter is down right now. Sending this to you here just in case.
Yeah.
And this was sent 2 hours ago. My goodness, you got up early.
No, I didn't. It was in the middle of the day for me.
3:59 a.m. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's your time. That's your time. Anyway, so sorry about that mix-up, but it wasn't really my fault. That was Twitter's inadequacies.
It doesn't matter. I think Steven bailed already.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gone. I'm not sure who the one person is that's watching, but thanks for being here, whomever you are. So when we last left you, the entire Canada was collapsing. There was going to be nothing left of it very soon. But now, like, the schizophrenic man who's in charge south of the border just decided today that he's going to get along with Canada. Today's the day that he just decided, you know what? I like Canada now. I'm going to stop calling the prime minister a governor. I'm going to stop saying 51st state, and everything's hunky-dory.
There you go.
For now, until he changes his mind again. Like, what a roller coaster of a week. Like, it starts off with his team screwing up. Did you see that, how they accidentally let a reporter in on a chat? Did you hear about that? No?
Nope.
Okay, so they had some missile strikes that they decided that they were going to do in Yemen on March 15th. This is to protect the Suez Canal and the waterways in that area. And they had to, I don't know, they felt like that they had to bomb some people there. And so they put together this a group chat thing on a social media app. I can't remember the name of the social media app, but it's one of those ones on your phone, like kind of like a WhatsApp or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let this reporter in while they're discussing. So it was him. It was like the Tulsi Gabbard. It was Pete Hegseth. All the head honchos down there. All JD Vance was in on it. All discussing how they're going to what's going to happen for this bombing. And Pete Hegseth just like lays out the war plans. Like, we're going to attack at this time. We're going to attack these targets and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, a person that was brought in on the group chat was like the head writer or head editor at the Atlantic magazine. And he's looking at this and he's looking at all these messages and he's like, this can't be real. Like, this is somebody playing a prank on me. So he sat and waited. And then at 11:44, when it said that there was going to be a bomb strike, there was a bomb strike in Yemen. And that's when he knew that it was real. It was happening. So all day, this was on Monday that it came out. All day Tuesday, the media was grilling the Trump administration about this colossal screw up. How, like, they're trying to push it off as like, oh, it was no big deal. The mission was successful. No real war plans were sent. The guy from the Atlantic is a moron. Blah, blah, blah. All this stupid stuff. None of it was really sticking, I think. None of it was really working. Of course, it was working on Fox News. They made it sound like as if it was like explanation. That's great. Like those guys, they freak out about a blurry photo with a stack of files in Joe Biden's garage, and they say like that's evidence that Joe Biden has breached security or something like that. Meanwhile, they have actual evidence here of this guy giving a reporter war plans. Totally, like, it's just a colossal mess up. So at the end of the day, Trump just decides, you know what? 25% tariffs on automobiles coming in from Canada. Goodbye, everybody. That was the end of the day. And everyone in Canada is like, what? But that was Trump's, he wanted to change the news cycle, right? He didn't like the way that
he
didn't like the way that this story was going. So what do? Well, we'll just throw the media and everybody, because the media can't concentrate on more than one story at once. So we'll just give them that thing. And so then we spent all day, Wednesday and yesterday, like, what the heck? Like, what does that mean? Because it doesn't come with a list of instructions. What does 25% tariffs mean? Like, I'll give you, like, I don't know if I told the story. Did I tell you about, like, when I worked at the factory where we heat treated the end of the pipes? Did I tell you about that?
No.
So when back in my day, when I was a kid, one of my first jobs, I worked in a factory where we heat treated the end of pipes so they could be threaded, and then they would be tied together, and they would use it for mining exploration. They would use them as drill bits for mining exploration. So they could find more pockets of ore, so they can go in there and extract ore from the ground. Now the minerals that was used to make the pipes were dug up in Sudbury, in my hometown. They were taken from the ground or in the area or whatever, right? Then all of that ore was then smelted, and then the refined stuff was shipped to France. And in France, they would make the pipes there, and they would stamp made in France. And then the pipes would come all the way back to Sudbury, to the factory where I worked in, and we would heat treat the end of them. Basically, you'd make them soft so you can thread them so they could be, put together. So we would heat treat the ends of them and then put them on bundles and get them all ready to go onto a truck. So then they could go all the way to Pennsylvania so they could be threaded. And then they would come all the way back to Sudbury to actually finally be tied together and used for the purpose of mining exploration. Now, the reason why they did all this was because we have a global economy. There's no real tariffs or anything like that. And they were able to do this mining exploration in an effective way, because building all of that infrastructure in Sudbury to make these things would create, it would just be a massive effort to do all of it. And it would take time to make all this stuff before they could actually start doing exploration. And the mines would have to wait for all of this infrastructure to be put in place before they could start finding where the minerals are to go find. And so they would have to shut down. So in order to not do that, they figured out that, okay, we could send these here, we could send it there, we could send it here, and it got everything done in an effective manner. And that's an example of like trading and all that stuff. So as the stuff goes across the borders and all that stuff, cars are made like that, but even in a more complicated way, because cars are assembled in Canada, but there are only some parts that are made in Canada. Some parts are made in Mexico. Some parts are made in China. Some parts are made in Japan. You know, there's electronics. There's all sorts of things. So what part of the car is 25% more? Is it only the parts that are made in Canada? Is it only cars that are assembled in Canada? No, we don't have a set of instructions for any of this stuff. So as we're trying to figure out all of this, you know, and meanwhile, like the car plants are like, we might have to shut stuff down because we can't figure this stuff out. We might have to like cut everything until we figure it out. And people's jobs are in jeopardy. People are like, I don't know what the heck, what we're doing tomorrow and all that. And then today, the guy just wakes up. He has one phone call with our Prime Minister, Mark Carney. And he's like, you know what? Tariffs are still on for April 2nd, but we had a good phone call today. It's like a schizophrenic week. It's like one day it's like mass chaos. The next day it's like, okay. And I don't know. It's just insane. That's my point.
All right. Well, the basics are you say what you have to get your way, and it either works or it backfires. And when it backfires, say something else to get your way.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much. Like,
I
mean,
it's not complicated.
pretty much. Like, I think so. I think he, like Trump, of course, has totally underestimated this entire situation. He thought that he could just go in and push everybody around and make this thing go his way. And it's not going his way, because every time he brings up tariffs, the economy starts, you know, doing, stocks and that start dropping, because, you know, the stock market does not like insecurity. They don't like, unpredictability. And as soon as that starts happening, as soon as like something, well, this is going to be unstable, and that people start pulling stuff out, and that's when the stock market starts dropping. So I don't know. There's a bunch of theories as to what Mark Carney said today to calm Donald Trump, or like he had a complete change. You know, like he posted that, you know, he called Mark Carney the prime minister. He didn't say anything about the 51st state. He said it was a good call, and that, you know, this thing is going to move forward, and he thinks everything's going to be positive. Everything is going to be great. I don't think he wrote the thing on his social media platform. You know, one of his goons did, but he still signed off on it. And that's only what he feels today, right? Tomorrow, I don't know, one of his other goons could screw up, and Canada's back in the quagmire that is Trump's whim once again. You know, the Trump vortex. I think that's what Canada's in. We're in a Trump vortex right now.
There you go. Smoke and mirrors, nothing new.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's really frustrating. You know, like it's like, is the economy doing well? Is the economy doing bad? Like we just keep going back and forth. But there has been some positive things besides that. Like forget Trump, more reliable. Like that's not a reliable positive thing. That's just something that could be good. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, Mark Carney is now the leader of the Liberal Party. I can't remember where we left off from, like we talked 2 weeks ago. And he's looks like he's marching towards a majority government, which is great. That means that we're not going to get our Trump Jr. guy in, which looked like was going to happen for like the last few years. And so that's positive. And he's also the first thing Carney did when he got into office was he started going to other countries and shoring up our alliances with other countries. And so you know, he went to the UK, he went to the EU. I believe he spoke with Japan as well, and you know, just kind of making sure that we'll be okay. as we remove ourselves from the United States, because I can't see us going back to having as big of a reliance on the United States as we do now, because it's just too uncertain. It's too unstable. So I'm feeling a little better about the whole thing.
Well, that's how every country really should be. Is you should be self-sufficient and depend primarily on yourself. At least I'd say 75% ish. You should be going local for pretty much everything. And then of
Yeah,
course you got your imports, you got your exports, you got your international businesses and all. But you really should just try to do everything yourself, and that's no fault of any country. That's just how it is.
well, see, that's I kind of agree with that, but I also kind of don't agree with that, because so that's basically what they're trying to do, right? Is they're trying to isolate everybody, right? Isolate every country. And by they, I mean like the Russian Chinese propaganda. Like all this misinformation that they put out there and all that, that's all set into all the little crevices and cracks of division that we have, and it's set to expand it, to make it worse, right? Like us joining with, like, we're kind of aligning ourselves more with the European Union. We're aligning ourselves more with Japan. We're aligning ourselves more with the UK and other countries. Australia, we just made a defense deal with Australia, which is normally something that we would do with the United States. And the reasoning for that is because we are stronger together, right? These countries are stronger when they work together, when their economies work together, when we defend each other from threats together. And Russia hates that. Russia doesn't like that, because they cannot just do what they want to do. There's a threat there that we're all going to come together and fight against them, and that's what we did in World War One. That's what we did in World War II. We all came together to fight the threat, of takeover, of tyranny, of authoritarianism.
Oh, sure.
And
When you're ready for a fight, absolutely. I'm talking about just the day to day. You got to make sure everybody in your country's got enough work to support their families and all.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Um, So a couple of things I did want to talk about. Well, hey, I saw that you watched some of the Heritage Minutes there. Did you watch them all, or just those select few?
I think I watched 2 or 3 right after we had our
Okay,
call and had my fill.
I understand. So if anyone doesn't know, the Heritage Minutes were like these little things put together by the Heritage Foundation of Canada, and they were just like little pro-Canadian minute things. But it was fun. Like Sarah and I did go back and we watched them all, because a lot of it's tied into nostalgia. Like a lot of the stuff came out in the 90s and that. So there was stuff that we saw a lot back then. But it was interesting. We didn't have that DVD that I showed you. We didn't have everything on that DVD. It only went up to like 2003, and they still, believe it or not, make Heritage Minutes. They make about 2 or 3 a year. I guess you didn't see the Heritage Minute with starring James Bond, aka Pierce Bronson. Did you catch
No,
that
I
one?
didn't see that. What was he doing?
Well, so there was this a British man named I can't remember his British name, but anyways, he came to Canada, and he took on an identity as a native person. He became Grey Owl, and he kind of became a conduit to explaining to the British people the plight of the Native Americans in Canada. So they made a whole movie about it, and then they kind of just chopped it up and made it this little Heritage Minute about it. So that's what he was doing. So if you look at any of the photos of Grey Owl, Pierce Bronson Grey Owl, you would think, oh my God, that is some whitewashing right there. But he was an actual white guy that, donned all the native gear and took on a native identity. And that was his, the idea was that he was going to be an ambassador or conduit to these people. There was also another one with Dan Aykroyd. Did you catch that one?
No, I'm watching the Gray Owl one right now, and I'd
Okay.
just love to see somebody try to pull this off today. It's like, I'm going to be
Yeah,
an ambassador. I'm just going to adopt your culture, and yeah, let's see how it goes.
yeah, it wouldn't fly today. I don't even know if they would talk about gray owls today. Dan Aykroyd did do one that was also a film, a Canadian film that was chopped up into a 1 minute heritage minute about the Avro Arrow, which was a Canadian experimental jet that was built and designed in the 1950s, 40s,
What was
and
it called?
50s. The Avro Arrow. So,
Avro Arrow.
yeah,
Okay.
ARVO Arrow, ARROW. And
Now wait a minute. Dan Aykroyd doing this. This must be after he was pretty well known.
oh yeah, this was late 90s. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh yeah, there he is. He's old man Dan Aykroyd.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's about the Avro Arrow, which was a experimental jet that didn't I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, I'm sure Bill would have a different take on it because he's Mr. Airplane guy, but there's a bit of controversy around basically Canada was part of the aviation movements in war, right? Like we built a lot of planes for during World War II. You can go to the Aviation Museum in Ottawa and you can see all the stuff that we built and supported during the war. And our factories and that would be used to make all of these planes. And then we started getting into the actual, building and designing planes to be sold to other countries. But the project got really bloated. Got really expensive, and it was cut by the conservative government when they came into power. And like it did. It was, by the time they were getting it off the ground, it was a little bit older technology, and other countries had surpassed its technology. So I kind of get cutting the program. It is baffling why they didn't take all those smart people and use them for something else. But he also, it was the Conservative Party led by Diefenbaker, scrapped every plane. He just went in and gutted every plane. I think there's like a shell or two that is left from the original project, but everything is gone, which is unfortunate because we lost a lot of our history there. But anyways, I wanted to mention the Heritage Minutes because as we watch them, like the early ones are very pro Canada, very pro, all good stuff in that, and it gets a lot. They get a lot into the minutia of Canadian history with intent, that they were trying to bring to light stories that the average Canadian might not know. So they just didn't, regurgitate the same thing that everybody knew, which was good. But as we move forward in time, they start adding in more stories that don't paint Canada in a great light. They start focusing on some of our mistakes that we have made. Like we had Japanese internment camps here in Canada during World War II. We had slavery in Canada up until the 1830s. We didn't go to war over it, but we did have it until the 1830s.
How come you don't get picked on for that?
Because we didn't go to war over it. We didn't have a civil war over it. We didn't fight to try to keep it. We said, yeah, you know what? Slavery is bad. This is something that we shouldn't do. And we stopped doing it. And, we didn't have a bunch of, people working in cotton fields and all that stuff. And, we treated, we still had, ways
wait. No. Go finish back your original thought. How did you treat your slaves? What was the positive spin?
No. No. I'm saying we treated the situation as maturely as we could for the time. How's that?
Sure.
But we weren't perfect. Like up until the 1940s, believe it or not, we had a woman in Nova Scotia who sat in we had segregated movie theaters in Nova Scotia. and black people were only allowed to sit in a certain part. So this woman named Viola something, it wasn't Viola Davis. She's on her $10 bill. She sat in the spot where she wasn't supposed to, and that created a whole big uproar in Nova Scotia. And she got the rights for everybody to sit wherever the heck they want in a theater, regardless of your skin color or your religion or whatever. That was in the 40s.
Go to the theater anymore.
10 years before Rosa Parks. Where do you think they got that idea from? Where do you think?
I'm sure she copycatted. It was just like a TikTok video. This is popular. I'll do it.
Listen, see, this is another thing. See, Americans don't know their history. They don't know their history. It is a fact.
You're talking about Canadian history.
That entire incident with Rosa Parks was staged. It was done on purpose. It wasn't like she was just some woman that just decided, I'm going to sit in this part of the bus. And then the movement took it on. The movement wanted to spark. They needed a spark to get things going. And that was intentionally done. So I don't fault them for it or anything like that. But they did look at what other countries were doing and what did spark a movement in other countries. And Canada was a country that did something very similar nearly a decade. Thank you very much for that flag. Nearly a decade before the United States did. So there you go. So that was that Heritage Minutes. That's all. I think that's all I have to. So I enjoyed, or I didn't enjoy, but I was proud of the fact that these Heritage Minutes just didn't stick to all the good things. They did go into the mistakes that our country has made, and I think that is important to talk about. I think that's important to recognize so we don't continue to make them again, and kind of need more of that. I think more of it. Yeah, it absolutely. Okay, look at that. I got backed up by Chris Roberts.
Sitting there.
I'm backed up. She was a civil rights activist. Yes. Okay, and then the other thing I just want to talk about. I really don't have much to talk about. I actually have some movies to talk about.
I'm waiting.
But the one final thing I want to talk about is just this whole thing has just been tough for a lot of people. And, like there is this real underground fascist, it's not really underground, it's above ground, this fascist movement that's really trying to divide everybody, trying to anger everybody. And they use anger and they use fear because it's really easy to control. It's really hard it's a lot harder to make someone happy than make them scared. Hello, Kyle. Welcome.
Hey, Kyle, too. Oh my goodness, things are picking up.
So I have a method. Now, I didn't come up with this method. This is something that other people have talked about. You can watch a good video.
That's for Kyle.
Federation of Planets. Did you actually have these flags made up for this, just for this, or did you have those lines?
Yeah, I'm ready. No, I'm absolutely ready. I've got, if I need to support you, I got a little Canadian flag.
All right.
If you're having too much fun, I got a little American flag.
Get that out of here.
And if things get really out of control, I got the United Federation of Planets to just remind everybody where we're headed.
I don't hate America. You can put that flag anywhere you want. I'm fine with that. I don't hate America. I have a problem with
put it anywhere I want. How about this?
What the heck?
That's my little Kevin buddy.
Oh boy!
And look, he's got judo chop action.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I do take offense to me having an American flag in my hand. That's better. That's better. Go. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Anyways, I was trying to get to something a little not too serious, but a little way that we can all fight this stupid thing. And you don't have to pay attention to politics, and you can have fun while doing it. Really, the way to beat this thing, the way to combat this thing, is not to go online and argue with people and all that. That doesn't work. That doesn't do anything. That just creates more division. But what you can do is you can find community. Community is really the key to fighting this thing. Getting to know other people with common interests. It's a lot harder for, a lot more difficult for fascists to get you to hate someone when you know them on another level, when you know them on a level other than just what their political views are. I think that part of the reason why this whole movement has grown so quickly within the last few years is because of the pandemic, and we've become more and more isolated, and we become isolated with all this technology and all that, because that is one thing that they need. They need to make you angry, make you scared, and isolate you. When you're angry, scared, and you're isolated, that's a lot. Those are the three key elements. Like, there's a reason why the Nazis killed a lot of art or suppressed a lot of art, and not just art like painting a barn or whatever and making the barn look exactly like the barn. I'm talking like modern art, different ideas, different interpretations of things, bringing people happiness and joy in certain ways. It's a lot more difficult for fascists to take over a mindset when you're happy and you have friends and you have things to look forward to and you have plans. When you're sad and depressed and all that, you're very susceptible to having your mind basically taken over, because human beings are pack animals, and they offer a place where you can, if you're angry and you're sad and you're scared, they offer a place where they embrace that and you feel embraced. But it's not healthy. It's not good. So when I say like community, I mean like, don't seek out the Ku Klux Klan or anything like that. But I think that if you look towards doing and I'm talking like real interaction with real people that right? Or even that you don't know. Like, go out and there's community gardening. Almost every community has a garden now. Yeah, I know you're giving me that look, but there's community gardening. There's like
No, I was thinking no, there is a garden very close to my kid's school where I have to drop her off, and you just made me think of that.
You have to drop her off at the garden, so she's part of a community garden?
No, it's close to her school, so if I have to drive her, it's like that's a safe spot. I can drop her off. She can walk the rest of the way.
Well, I don't know if it's in Japan. I don't know if it's in the rest of the world. But one of the things that we have here in my town is a community garden where everybody gets together and contributes to this garden and grows food. And I think the food's donated to a local bank or whatever. But, you get to know people. You get to learn some gardening skills. You get to learn some stuff, and learning how to grow your own food. That's important. But as you get to know more people and you get to know them, you get to know that, maybe they have a different political view than you or whatever, but you still share that connection. And it's a lot harder for fascism to break you when you have that connection. Like, for instance, like did I ever tell you about the Facebook group that we have here, our local Facebook group? And then people started posting political stuff on our local Facebook group. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Okay.
Well, we have a local Facebook group for.
Well, someone created a Facebook group for our area, and anybody can join it. But basically, it's for our area. So if does anyone know why the power is out? I've heard sirens. I have something for sale. I have I'm giving away something, or there's construction down the street, or the highway was closed. Does anyone know if it's open, or whatever? All these local concerns, local questions, and all that stuff. It's a very handy tool at some time. Like when the power goes out, you don't know exactly where or who has a power outage or whatever. So it's those kind of things. A lot of people use it to complain about things as well, but for the most part, that's what it's for. And then, so the moderators of this site, they started posting their political views, and they were conservative views. And people started complaining, saying that, like, this is about our community. This thing should be about our community. It's not about the federal election or anything like that. And some people were saying, well, I'm going to leave the group or whatever. But and then the people who are the mods were like, well, you know what, this is our page. And for 3.5 years, it's all about community. But for this half a year during elections and all that, that's when we start talking about elections. And we think that that's healthy and all that, which kind of shows that they don't really understand Canadian politics, because that's an American thing where you have an election every 4 years. But I digress. Anyways, which, okay, fine. If you want to post and promote discussion about the election and all that, and you want to post like what the polls are doing, or do you think like any of the candidates will come here to Sudbury to talk to people, or that kind of thing, but they're posting like misinformation, basically, that like Mark Carney doesn't want, or wants to charge people to have children, which was a thing going around TikTok, which is just ridiculous. But that's how those things kind of start, where it's a page that's designed for people to come together and talk about things other than politics. But let's bring all the divisive things that people can argue about, and let's have that infiltrate this webpage. So, enough people complained, including me. And I said, like, look, my point was like, look, you want to post stuff about the election, fine, but don't make it about misinformation. And for now, it's been a couple days now. For now, the posts have stopped. But that is, that's just a way of, like, these people they believe they're following all this stuff. They're following all this misinformation. They're following and they believe it. And they believe that they have to they feel compelled to tell other people, even in an area where it's inappropriate. That's not really an appropriate place for that. But if we were not connected together on this page, those other times where we're talking about other things and all that, if it was just random Facebook or thing, it would probably be a lot easier to create that division. But my point is that we were connected in other ways, and it was people that didn't agree with me, that they were conservatives and there were liberals that came together and said, yeah, this is not the place to talk about it, because we enjoy what that page does outside of politics. We enjoy like the information and all that stuff. So anyways, that's my point. So if somebody says to you like they don't really want to follow the thing, or they're tired of politics, or they don't want to do it, I tell them, like, suggest to them that they join a community. Suggest to them that they, get to know more people face to face, kind of thing. I am going to join the community garden this year. I kind of been planning on it for a while. I almost did last year, but this year I'm definitely going to do it. And I might join the astronomy club too. And I understand that not everyone has the time for it, but the United Federation of Planets. Well, look, even this show, like we're pretty much talking to an online community that, was started by Sean and Mark, how many years ago. And here we all are, maybe we're not communicating or whatever, this is the exact same way when we first started, but we all still are all together, and, it'd be a lot harder for someone to come in and really create a rift between all of us. Like, just imagine an outsider coming in and telling us like, hey, you should hate this guy because he believes this thing, or, just started like putting politics in everyone's face, kind of like what I'm doing right now. But anyways, but my point is that I think that if we're together, we're better when we're together.
And that was a very long-winded way of saying what is exactly written on my tea bag label here. Smiling.
Give me that tea bag, baby.
Smiling is the basic kind of piecework.
Smiling is the basic kind of piecework. I don't know. That sounds a little too
a little hippy dippy for you.
Yeah, that's a little too much. What did somebody say?
I hippy dippy in my tea here. Where is their local retro Fandango club?
No, there's not enough local people to care about retro Fandango.
You should start posting about it, and then they'll say, "Get these political ideas out of here. We're talking about peas and carrots."
What did that person say? It was such a good quote. I wrote it down.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I can transition from my little Star Trek flag here, my United Federation flag. Well, Kyle is still here, and talk about something he's going to care about. I don't know if you're watching, Kyle, but check this out. I finally got myself the Next Generation Blu-ray set.
The full journey.
The full journey. Look at that.
So what does that mean?
Brilliantly restored and remastered in high definition.
Because I just have the complete series. What's the full journey?
Well, this is the UK release, so I guess that's their packaging.
Oh, so
it's the full journey of the Next Generation. No,
so
there's no movies in here. Yeah. It's just a TV show.
Oh, so it's not the full journey then.
Well, do you care about the other?
No.
4 adventures there?
I do not.
No, I never had the Blu-rays for this, so I got it.
Did you see that? He's got a Federation flag hanging
over his window, as everybody should.
Nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these Blu-rays come in those big fat packs.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Same with you, which I get it. You got to cram all that stuff in there, but it's like sometimes you have the one where you have to remove the one disc in order to get the one beneath it.
Yes.
But this one has like really long spindles, so you have like 3 discs stacked on top of another 3 discs. So.
That's same. I get my Star Trek is like that, and Twilight Zone is like that.
Twilight Zone, yeah. So I went to my local dollar store equivalent here, and I got some of these Blu-ray cases that hold 8 discs. So I just separated them into seasons. So I've got 7 of these, and I'm gonna do the same thing for my Twilight Zone because I felt bad every time I had to you feel like you're gonna snap the thing in half.
It's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
First world problems.
At least it's actually maybe it was better. Have you seen the ones where it's just a giant spindle and they stack all the discs in one thing?
That's how my Sanford and Son is.
At least that one you don't feel like you're gonna crack it. You just kind of lift them off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But still, it's not ideal.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I got 3. Do you want to talk about some movies? I got 3 movies here.
I got plenty more if you want.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is kind of I talked about this a while ago. Maybe about somewhere within the past year, I watched Death Becomes Her for the first time, and I just picked it up on Blu-ray because my DVD was the 4x3 version.
Yeah,
and watched it again, and this movie is really rising in the ranks for me. It's becoming one of my favorites.
Really,
I think it's just a fantastic movie. I can't believe I missed out on it for so long. It's a great comedy. It's a Robert Zemeckis film, and it's a great special effects movie where all of the effects that are in the film are tied directly to the plot. So they're all well constructed, well thought out, the way they're shot and considered into what happens. It's not just, like now you can throw an effect for no reason. It's just everything was very calculated and precision cut. It's a nice short film. It comes in 103 minutes. So
nice.
You get in and out. It's really great. Great performances by Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. Bruce Willis is kind of okay, but he's goofy enough for the role.
I just remember from the trailer they made a hole in Goldie Hawn. You could see right through her.
Oh yeah, that's right there in the cover.
It's even on the cover.
Yep. Give it a watch if you haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a
I
long
have not.
time. It's a good film.
Okay, I'll check it out. Kyle wants to know what your opinion is on The Outer Limits.
I want to get a copy of it. I remember seeing bits and pieces of The Outer Limits when I was a kid. You catch the random episode here or there, but I definitely want to check out the whole thing. It's just not readily available in my area, so it's one of those things I keep an eye out for. I know they remade it in what, like
The
the
90s?
80s, 90s,
Yeah.
90s.
There was a Canadian version in the 90s. That's
So I saw a couple of those too. I'd have to sit down and rewatch the whole thing. But I love the idea. I love those Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypts, Outer Limits kind of things. Night Gallery was more of a miss than a hit, but I still like the style.
I have not seen The Outer Limits. The only part of The Outer Limits I have seen is that there's an episode that they say James Cameron ripped off for the Terminator. So
I've heard that.
I checked out that episode. I think I got about a half hour in, and I don't know what people are talking about.
I'm sure there's just some base similarity between them, but
as far as I could tell, there was nothing that made me think, "Oh, Terminator." I get it. So I don't know. Maybe I need to watch the whole episode, but I went to bed. I was like, all right, I don't see anything. I thought it was so those Outer Limits. I believe they're hour episodes. I was expecting a half-hour episode. That's why I started watching it, and there was an hour, and I don't know. Might have been tired too. I don't know.
Something that feels like a Twilight Zone Outer Limits. I finally watched Cocoon.
Nice.
I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know anything about this movie other than the title, and I think that's it. Oh no, I knew that Steve Guttenberg was in it.
Wilford Brimley, he's in that one, right?
Wilford Brimley, Don Amici, Brian Dennehy. A lot of names in here.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I know Cocoon 1 and 2, those were movies that my sister and I watched a lot on VHS. Like we had it taped off of something. But I couldn't tell you. I don't remember a thing about it other than they were old people. They would go into a pool and then they would come out young. That's all I remember.
Young at heart, kind of. Yeah. They felt it reinvigorated. That's kind of the premise of it. And it's a little bit of a sloppy movie. It feels like I don't know if it was cut down or rewritten while they were doing it, but Steve Guttenberg really feels like he doesn't need to be in this movie. His character just kind of doesn't need to be there. It was a little more fun when they were focusing on Wilford Brimley and his buddies. So I don't know. I'll check out the sequel if I come across it, but
I remember the sequel not being nearly as good, but it was one of those.
Okay, well, this is good in parts, and then it just feels like sloppy.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, I loved Turner and Hooch, and then when I rewatched it, I was like, "Yeah, this." I could see why I liked it when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, it had Reginald Vell Johnson in it. Gotta like it.
Yeah,
playing a cop.
That's all. That's what he does. That's his thing.
That's his thing. I also finally sat down to watch Eyes Wide Shut, which I've been sitting on a copy for a while.
Yeah, and
you've seen it?
I've never bothered. I'm not a big Kubrick fan.
I know. That's why I was kind of surprised that I thought you had seen it. No, I watched half of it and I had to stop because the Blu-ray made me. I got one of these rental Blu-rays and there's a scratch in it and it stopped midway. And it's a shame because I was really enjoying it.
Okay.
I definitely want to check out the rest of this.
Okay. Like I'm debating, so I do want to go on a Tarantino
Kubrick.
Like watch the movies. No, I want to go on a Tarantino thing. When I'm done that, maybe I'll do a Kubrick thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
It's good stuff. I mean, whether it's your preference of whether you like it or not, that's up to you. But it is quality filmmaking. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Uh, Tom Cruise is a bit off,
Oh yeah, I
which
forgot he's in that.
I'm sure is not going to surprise you. It's something about his delivery. It's very slow.
Yeah.
Sure, it's deliberate. I don't think it works, but the movie
I
itself is
still have one M. Night Shyamalan movie that I need to. Trap. I still haven't watched it because I hear it's pretty bad. It's the latest one that he's done. I can't. Maybe I'll just skip it and go to the Tarantino stuff. I don't know.
Well, Tarantino's not going to take you that long. He's only got 9 movies.
Well, and I'm going to start after. Like, what is it after Jackie Brown? Like,
Or
I've seen those.
Are you doing his screenplay movies too? Just the stuff that
No,
he wrote?
nah, just his
Um,
movies.
I think I know this. It's Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, I
Those
think
are the
was
next
next.
ones. I-
And then maybe the Grindhouse.
Oh yeah, okay. I forgot about those.
Um,
Death Proof and Grindhouse. I saw
well,
one of
yeah,
those, the one
Death
with
Proof
Kurt
and
Russell.
Planet Terror. That was Death Proof. And that
Okay.
one is a slog. That one
Yeah.
just goes on forever.
Okay. I might not. I might skip that one. I don't think I need to rewatch that one.
Um, I don't know the order here, but Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah.
Then there's
Hateful
the 2
Eight,
westerns: Django Unchained,
Django.
Hateful Eight,
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in America. I think
Nah,
I
I
did
don't
it.
need to see that one again. So just a few movies there in the middle that I need to get to.
I've still never seen the second half of Kill Bill.
I haven't seen the first or second half, so
Okay.
you got me beat.
Huh.
I haven't seen any. Like we started watching Inglorious Bastards, but we had just finished watching a whole thing on PBS about Auschwitz, and that movie just did not sit well at all.
Well, it's got
Like
a very tongue-in-cheek tone.
yeah, and I'm just
I,
like, I don't really feel like having a good old fashioned romp with Nazis right now. So yeah.
um, I don't know. I
I
got other pickups here, but nothing too big.
I found
I
that
did
oh, okay,
rewatch.
right.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I found that quote. It's community is the antidote to divisionists. That's the quote.
Community is the antidote to
Antidote.
divisionists.
Yes.
Community is the antidote to division. That's very difficult to say.
It is, but when you read it, it makes sense. Write
You
it
should put
down.
that on it. Put it on a tea bag. There you go.
Community is the antidote. Antidote. It's
Antidote f- to antidote for divisionist
to
is
divisionists.
antidote to divisionist. There's a few
Yes.
too many consonants in
A
there.
lot of consonants in that. Divisionists. Anyways, I like the sentiment of it.
Sure.
Not the
And I
sentiment,
like
the sentiment.
I like the premise of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, but I do not like the movie.
The premise.
Again, visual effects, the makeup is fantastic. The movie, the characters, the motivations, that's all
Yeah.
out the window. That's all.
There's not a lot of CG in that one. That's like a 2000 movie. They should be loaded with CG.
No, it's a lot of practical effects. They do some
Wow.
CG manipulation where they make the monkey mouths like roar occasionally, things like that.
Okay.
A lot of wire work. There's Tim Roth, he's jumping around and stuff, so there's he's on wires and things. And
Oh.
they do a little too much of the apes acting like apes, where they just suddenly start barking
Yeah.
and everything, and calm it down.
Hmm.
Settle down.
I'm still going to avoid
Um,
that one. I don't need to see that one.
Nah,
I'm good.
you really don't. I did watch something you told me about. I had my copy of A Mighty Wind,
Yep.
and I went through it, and I was having a good time. And I was like, you know what? I want to see that thing where you just sit through the whole
Yeah. The show.
end performance, the
Yeah.
PBN performance. So even though I had just watched the movie, I sat down and I watched the entire PBN thing straight through, which isn't as long as you think it might be, but it was great.
I just thought it was
all
such a
those songs.
treat. Yeah, that all that was
Yeah,
there, and
yeah.
like
Well, it
they
makes
did a full
sense that
show. You know?
yeah, it was probably the best way to film that sort of thing, and then he
Yeah.
could chop it up later on. I'm kind of running on empty here. I did I have my copy of Blading Saddles on DVD. I saw the Blu-ray, so I was like, all right, let me upgrade that. This is one of those annoying Blu-rays where because it's a Japanese release, you can turn off the subtitles or you can make them Japanese subtitles or US English subtitles or just turn them off. The thing is there's a lot of music in this and there's a lot of jokes in the music. So even though you turn off the subtitles, the Japanese text will come back up during the songs
Mm,
to translate all the joke.
right.
So then I'm like, "Uh-oh, let me turn this off." And I can't. So if I switch it to English subtitles during the song, they will go off. But then as soon as the song's over, the English subtitles are on the screen. It's a nightmare. I
That's
hate when
weird.
things do this.
Oh my
If you
god.
want I want the option to just shut it off. That's it.
Shut it off.
I hate that.
It's like in Ghostbusters. Walter Peck says, "Shut it off."
That's right. Last one, I upgraded my Dick Tracy to a Blu-ray. I
Wow.
still like this movie a lot.
A lot of upgrades. I still have not seen that movie.
It's really good, and then it gets a little sloppy at the end, but it's a forgivable sloppy.
All right.
I really like that movie a lot.
All right.
And
All right.
Chief O'Brien's in it.
Oh, really?
Yep, he plays a little beat cop. He has one line, and he's out of focus.
I had the Dick Tracy novel.
You
Film
told me
to
that.
novel. Yeah, that was it. That's so I've read the book a few times, but I can't remember anything about it.
Oh, it's a visual treat. As much as I was talking about the monkey makeup in the Tim Burton movie there, I'd say the costumes and makeup in Dick Tracy is better.
Cool. All right. Well, I just have 3 movies to talk about.
Hmm.
And 2 of them we can probably talk about at the same time, but I'll get this one out of the way. I rewatched the movie Tora Tora Tora.
Tora Tora Tora.
Yeah. Do you know this movie?
I've never seen it,
Do you know what it's
but
about?
well, judging from your recent viewing habits, yeah, I believe that is all about Pearl Harbor.
Yes. So this was a movie that was done with the Japanese. It was like half Japanese, half American film. The story of the Japanese invasion of Pearl Harbor. And this came about in a discussion that I had with someone, and I think I mentioned in the last episode. They said that I was leaning towards saying that FDR used Pearl Harbor as a false flag to get America into World War II, and I was like, okay, look, my feelings on what had happened there, it's somewhere between the crazy conspiracy and the official explanation in this movie. So basically, what's this? Bullfighting?
Tora Tora
Tora,
Tora.
Tora, Tora. That's very good. Very good, Kyle. Um, so basically, the official explanation as to what had happened during Pearl Harbor invasion was that there was a lot of warning signs. There was a few false, what do you call it? Like, they thought an invasion was coming, but then it turned out not to be. False alarms. That's a word. There's a few false alarms. So they were kind of, by the time the real one came about, they were kind of like feeling that it was another false alarm. They didn't really take it that seriously. The big aircraft carriers that were in Pearl Harbor that were stationed there, they just happened to be gone out. So when the invasion came in, they didn't get those main targets. The Japanese didn't get those main targets that they had wanted, but they did a lot of damage to Pearl Harbor. The movie suggests strongly that it was a screw up on laissez-faire, people just not really taking the warnings seriously. Like they even had at the time state-of-the-art radar on the island to warn them of an invasion, and they got this big blip of something coming towards them, and they just said, "Oh, those are our bombers coming in. Don't worry about that." And because it was at the end of the day, the guys who were monitoring the radar, their time was done at 5 p.m. That's when they wrapped up for the day. So they just like, okay, I guess that's just it. There was no further investigation done or anything like that, or any sort of radio communication, like, where are you guys, or anything. So I think part of it was that, but I also do think that when the warning signs were coming in, America really did need a trigger to get them involved into World War II. And I think that part of the reason why they didn't take it seriously is because that they knew that those aircraft carriers were out, and that the damage, I'm positive that they thought that the damage wouldn't be as serious as it was, and they really underestimated the Japanese ability to take out a huge portion of that. Like they downed a destroyer and a bunch of other stuff. So they thought that they were just going to be able to slap them around a little bit, and then America would be motivated to get into the war, because that's what America does. It's always like they're like the Empire in Star Wars. The Empire didn't fail because they didn't have the technology and the power and all that, and the force and all that. No, they were arrogant. They just thought they could do whatever they wanted to do, and they thought that these rebels, they could just slap them around, and it's that same old story. Anyways, so I wanted to watch this again to refresh my memory of the official story. So yeah, they made it look like, the guy was going around telling everybody, that this thing was happening, and was kind of falling on deaf ears because nobody was really taking it too seriously. And I think that portion of the story is partly correct. Anyways, it is a good movie, though. A lot of good visual effects, like the battle scenes itself. It is a long movie, but it's worth it. The battle scenes are really incredible. Like you're looking at it and you're like, man, these people are doing this thing for reals. There's no CG. There was one scene where the stunt guy was like right in like there was planes exploding and they're coming towards him, and he's putting himself under some, like, in between some asphalt, to protect himself. I'm like, what? Wow, that was close.
What year was this made?
1970.
Okay.
So if you do watch it, make sure to watch the extended version. The extended version is only about an extra 3 minutes, but the extra 3 minutes were added by the Japanese. Like they had Japanese actors and that, and they had a little more. They had more scenes in it. Not necessarily to explain the Japanese side, but they just wanted to make the movie appeal to Japanese people more when the movie was there. So they just added more scenes with them in it. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it again. So I watched that, and onto lighter things. I pulled out the old HD DVD player, and I got myself a double dose of the clumps. The clumps. So we got the Nutty Professor.
Boy.
And the Nutty Professor Part 2.
I think I've seen the first one.
Yeah.
Beginning to end.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because those trailers played so often when those movies came out, and the scenes of Eddie Murphy with playing the whole family. Like I can't tell you if I actually saw the movie or if I'm just thinking of the trailers and those clips that played so often.
Yeah, that's understandable because the second movie is pretty much identical to the first movie. So in the first movie, of course, he is Eddie Murphy plays himself and his family. It's actually it's a decent film. I don't think I've ever seen a movie stampede towards an end as fast, like a very convenient ending, as quickly as this movie does. but it is enjoyable. Yeah, he plays like the guy who's got big fat nutty professor guy who finds a weight loss concoction that he makes in his lab, makes him completely lose all of his excess weight, but he also, his personality changes. So it's kind of like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing happening. And then, it's all about, being the better person and all that stuff. And I don't know, it's a fun movie. Eddie Murphy plays several roles in it. He plays all of his family that they bring back for the second film. And yeah, legitimate funny moments in it. Eddie Murphy's a very talented guy. And the way that he pulls off all those characters in a very entertaining and funny way. Good stuff. I like that one.
How's the CG in that? Is it? I remember a scene of like him, like his stomach just grows or something like that.
CG is terrible, but it's very quick. It's like just little snippets here and there. All of the clumps, like he's wearing all that makeup. He's wearing all prosthetics. That's all practical effects. But yeah, the stuff of him, like, his lip getting really big and all that stuff, like that's all, it looks awful, but it's a cartoony premise. It's a cartoony movie. So all the bad CG kind of fits the cartooniness of it all. You're not meant to take it seriously. So yeah, the second one, The Clumps, it's pretty much just the first movie done all over again. And this one, geez, I just watched it. I'm struggling to remember. That's how kind of forgettable it is.
The case of just the first one did so well, we got to rush out a sequel. Just do it
pretty
again.
much. Like the first one came out in '96. It was a big hit. Like it made a lot of money. So and this one came out in 2000. And Eddie Murphy, like you think of that era and him having a big lull in his career, like when he was doing Beverly Hills Cop 3 and all that, because he was so high up there.
Two little movies. He did a lot of family films.
Yeah, he did those, and those were very successful for him. So in this one, it wasn't about weight loss; it was about changing DNA or something like that. I don't even remember. How bad is that?
I've had that. There are some movies I've seen multiple times, and I still can't tell you what they're about.
Yeah. Anyways, it was all the same jokes, pretty much. Like he has all his family there, and they're pretty much saying the exact same thing that they said in the first movie. So I don't know. It wasn't really that great, but he had like this love interest. The love interest in the first film was Jada Pinkett Smith. It was just Jada Pinkett at the time.
And drop her. Dave Chappelle was in that one, right?
He was Dave Chappelle's in this one. Yeah, he's the comedian.
First one. Okay, yeah. I think I have seen that whole movie.
Yeah, he's the comedian he's the insult comic, right? And he starts insulting him, and then so he insults him when Eddie Murphy's fat, and then when Eddie Murphy comes back skinny, they have like a insult off or whatever. Yeah. It's good. It was an entertaining film. I mean, it's only 90 minutes long. Flies right by. This movie, it's like, how much is left in this? Oh man, we're only 30 minutes in. Okay. But whatever. I'm sure there's people that love it. Oh geez, I can't remember. There's something to do with DNA.
He's done more movies too where he plays like a ton of characters.
Yeah.
There's something called Norbit, I think it was called.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I did see it, and I can't tell you anything about it other than that he played multiple characters.
That's what it is. It reverses aging. He discovers a brilliant formula that reverses aging. But
so basically, that's just your premise for all the jokes to come in, and then the focus is on all the jokes.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the story.
Pretty much. Anyways. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't anything I'd ever want to revisit. I probably would watch the first one in 5 years from now when I forget what the heck happened again. But yeah. But that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, I got something else here.
Okay.
Speaking of revisiting, Something that might serve to make you feel just a little bit older.
Nothing can make me feel
Uh,
as old as I do right now.
Next, I realized this, and I went down a rabbit hole. I realized next year, 2026, granted, the end of 2026, so we're kind of a while away, will mark the 20-year anniversary of, any guess?
So it's something that came out in 2006, right?
Something that began in 2006, late 2006.
I moved to Stouffville,
Oh,
Ontario. Yeah.
mm. Next
Uh,
year,
all right.
2026, December, will mark the official 20-year anniversary of the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Oh,
Doesn't
wow.
that feel a little crazy?
A little bit, yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness. And I, I don't know why this clicked into my head, because I haven't watched an Angry Video Game Nerd episode in the longest time.
Yeah,
I
me too.
do on occasion still go back to Cinemassacre because I really liked his Monster Madness
Yeah.
videos, and I will just occasionally put those on because he kind of re-uploaded them like as a huge block, just all of them in one big video. So I will often have that on as background noise, but I never felt like going back to the Angry Video Game Nerd stuff. I realized, wow, 20 years. Maybe I should do that. So I have been marathoning
Oh,
all
really?
of the Angry Video Game Nerd reviews because the same thing. You can just he's got these videos where it's just like the whole season.
Yep.
It just plays straight through.
Yep.
And after a while, I realized, wait a minute, okay, these were re-edited probably for the DVD release because I
Mm.
remember didn't the early videos used to have a lot of movie footage? You know, like he's talking about Back to the Future, and then there would be movie clips and things. So I didn't bother going to the original uploads and doing that. The block is so much more convenient.
Yeah.
And I was curious to discover my drop off point of how far I actually watched. And from what I can tell, it was somewhere around season 6 or 7, kind of around the time that the movie was
Yeah.
becoming a thing,
Hmm.
because I still saw a few things that I remembered, and I saw things that I probably had watched once and then never
Yep.
looked back on because maybe the first season or two, those are the ones that you'd watch over and over
Sure.
again. I can't tell
Yep.
you how many times I've seen the Ninja Turtle one or something like that. So like season 8 so far, like it's all new to me, and that's where I am right now. I'm kind of in the middle of season 8.
And is it worth it? Like you're enjoying it all, or
Yeah, it's
yeah?
it's as much as it feels like everybody naturally kind of like, okay, I've gotten my fill. So far from what I'm seeing, the quality is still there. You know,
Mm.
you have the episodes where it's like it's a really big episode, a lot of production, and there's big effects and people in costumes and stuff like that. But then you have the smaller episodes where it's just okay, he's just trying to think of something to say. And I
Yeah.
think he was putting them out at like 2 episodes a month early on. So
Oh,
it's like
wow.
he was cranking these things out. So I can understand there's a slow episode here or there. So far, I haven't found a reason to stop. I'm still looking back and just enjoying the fact that the guy had a creative idea and he's able to make a career out of it. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. I don't care if it's gets kind of old or whatever. I haven't hit that point yet,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna keep going. I know later on, probably the past 5 or 6 or whatever years, I think he partnered with some other company and they started doing um, things with other people that weren't part of his normal clique. And I've seen a couple of things with that where they do like movie reviews and they just don't hit at all with me.
Well,
So I
they
don't know
didn't
when
didn't
that
they
kind of. affects the nerd videos or whatever.
Yeah, like didn't it come out that one of them wrote one of those angry video game, like it wasn't him writing it, it was just him.
I think that's kind of what happened. Is it got to the point where obviously it's a lot of work to put these things together,
Yeah.
and you lose that. I don't know. There's so much speculation. Like
Mm,
you look into this, and there's all these like, oh well, I heard this, and this person said that, and you get all these videos from people who aren't involved saying, well, this is what happened. This is what I think happened. This is my opinion. Like
yeah.
I can't, you know, listen to any of that. If the guy actually comes up and says, here is what happened.
Mm,
I'm telling you everything that happened. That's one thing, but I don't know. I'm sure he got help with the editing, the writing, all this kind of stuff because it seems like it was just then it kind of became corporate.
mm.
Some other entity
Yeah.
came in, said, "Here's how we're going to do it. You got to hit these beats," and then he started doing like advertisements and ad reads and things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know when that kicks in. So maybe at that point there will be a dramatic shift, but
Dude,
I
what
don't
like
mind going back through.
so season 8 you're like in 2014? Is that where? Yeah, you don't know.
I'm
Okay.
not doing the math. 2006 is when it started.
Okay. Well, 2006. 6 plus 8
Like
is.
7, 8,
Oh my
9.
goodness.
Wait,
I thought I was bad
10,
at math.
11, 12, 13. Probably around there. Yeah, like
Okay.
2013, 2014. I don't know if it's literally every
Yeah, I don't
year.
know
I
either.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
Anyway,
cool.
it's a fun revisit. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what kicked me in. I was watching all those and then I picked up my Next Generation Blu-rays. I'm like, "You know what? I've been watching so many movies. Maybe I should get back to a couple of TV series, go through this thing where I'm watching this whole thing unfold from beginning to end." So I
You know,
think this year I might try to watch a little bit more television.
I have some advice for you for those Star Trek: The Next Generation Blu-rays. There are
Mhm.
some episodes where they put the extra scenes into the episode. Sometimes
Right.
it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the one you want to make sure you watch is the Measure of a Man one. That one, like,
I've
there's
heard that
almost,
has a
yeah, it's almost like an extra half hour in there that it's expanded. And yeah,
there was
you want to check that one out.
something on here. Original film.
This is the part of the show where Richard reads. That's why we were
I'm
down
reading
to two
something.
people now watching.
Okay, this is not. I thought this was something to do with the extra running time, but there's a memo on the
Mm.
bottom of the box here. The original film elements for the specified duration of the following episodes have not been located and thus have not been upconverted from standard definition videotape. And
Yes.
it's some of them are literally 2 seconds.
Yep. It'll be just a
Others,
shot.
it's like a minute. Power play has 1 minute and 41 seconds.
That 1 minute might not be all together though. It might be
Right, it could just be like a
yeah,
little thing
yeah.
here or there. So
Most of the
there'll be a
time,
little drop.
you might not even notice it. Like
Probably
sometimes it
not if
does.
it's that
Yeah. So
fast.
sometimes it catches your eye. Like they'll be just a shot. Like it'll be like they'll be like all together talking or whatever, and then it'll go to like an establishing shot, and it's obviously like they were missing that piece for
Mhm.
whatever reason. But Kyle says that AVGN definitely has been a change in recent years. Seems like a little less passion involved. He doesn't know. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, after 20 years of
That's a
doing
long
it, I'm
time.
sure.
It's a long time to be playing that same character. So for sure, even if it's just
Sure.
small little YouTube clips, but it's a brand, right? It's his brand, and yeah,
Yeah.
wants to
I
continue to
mean,
make money. So
sure. I don't know. I remember enjoying pretty much everything that he put out. I really like the movie, the Monster Madness movie reviews, the board
yeah,
game stuff.
you know what?
Uh
it's coming back to me. I remember, and I've complained about this on this show before, and you're gonna roll your eyes, but it was that Blu-ray episode. That's what really did it for me. When he started complaining about how the Blu-rays were not as good as DVDs because the menus and all that were.
Oh, I like that video.
Nah, I was like, yeah, okay, that was it. Because he kind of cherry picked. Like I get it. A lot of Blu-rays are like lazily ported onto the movies are lazily ported onto there. They up-res the movies and all that. But like he left out like a lot. I get like the stuff isn't on the Blu-ray that he'd want, like the menus or whatever. But a lot of the Blu-rays come with the DVD that has all that content on there. You know, he kind of left that out. He cherry picked a lot of Blu-rays.
Yeah, I actually know that video fairly well, and I think at the end of the video, he basically says, "Yeah, I know, I'm just
Oh, does he? Maybe I didn't make it that far.
Yeah,
maybe my nerd rage is so angry. Oh, Sarah loves the bullshit videos. Yeah.
Oh, those might actually be my favorite.
Yeah. We did laugh really hard when he did that iTunes one, and he was talking about how you had to you could only have so many devices on your iTunes accounts, right? So he's showing himself having to go. This is the stuff that I appreciated that James would do. He would show, like, he would have a shot of himself going up into the attic to grab the old Mac computer from the attic and drag it down the stairs so he could deactivate his iTunes account. Like, to do all that instead of just saying it, he would show it. He was really good at doing all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's got one on like USB
USBs
connectors.
Yeah, those were good.
Oh man, yeah. They do make me laugh out loud. They're good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's a decent episode. That's good. I got my political rants out there, and we talked a little bit about movies, and it's one of those things that I'm not fired up today. I was having a bad time. That last episode, that was not a good time for me, but today everything's a little more calm, so we're in the calm area. But I do
you need your community garden of zen.
Yes, I do believe that is some good advice that I've heard from several other sources. I'm not going to say I came up with it, but there is truth to that. Like we're a community here online, and not just online communities, but online communities are good. A lot of good stuff, definitely do that, especially if you can't do the other stuff. And a lot of people are introverts too. I'm an introvert too. And it's hard to put yourself out there. It's not easy. But being sheltered and, sequestering yourself from everybody, it's not healthy. So, definitely go out there in the community. You don't have to do gardening, and do anything else that you find interest in. I don't know, maybe you like to play chess. There's probably chess groups around. Don't just play chess online, board games. I know there's people that get together to do board games, or the Warhammer stuff, or I don't know, whatever else you're interested in. Those drones, people like to fly drones. There's people that get together and they talk about their drones and they fly those around. Do it. Reach out there. Get to know people.
I like talking about movies on the internet.
Well, I mean, that's something. You're in a different situation. You're way out there.
This is my community.
You got to build
every 2 to 3 weeks. I get access.
You got to build. You can do more if you wanted to. You really wanted to. You put out a video. Let me tell you, the interaction you would get. Oh my God, Ryan Box is back, baby. But no videos.
I put out a few videos a few years ago, and I think I got about 5 views. My goodness, the interaction.
That's 5 more than you got before. It's 5 more. All my videos are gone, baby, gone. Just what's on here. Oh, and then the videos we did with Sarah, all that stuff. But anyways, all right, short one today, but that's good. People deserve a short one. They need to turn off the podcast, and they need to think about who they're going to make friends with. Who they're going to reach out there. They're going to think about their interests and their hobbies and the stuff that they've been putting off. Like, yeah, I should. And you can learn things too. Like, that's the thing I'm looking forward to, is learning things about gardening and astronomy from other people. not just YouTube videos. You know, be good. I hate being positive on the show because Richard always gives me a look like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
I'm just trying to think like what I would learn from gardening.
Well, how to garden, how to make your tomatoes from small to big. That's how you garden, right? Like I grew a pepper. I grew a pepper once. It was that big, a green pepper. It was tiny. It was like an inch. I had. Oh, how do I make that pepper bigger pepper?
Go to the supermarket. Put that pepper right there in the dirt.
Well,
look at that.
What happens when? Yeah. Rest in peace, Mario versus Mario Brothers. You can. I'll send you the video if I still have it, Kyle. You can relive those terrible videos. What happens when all the supermarkets are shut down? When everything's all gone? You need some skills, man. When the zombies take over, right? And they're you need to show that you can be part of the community. And what's your skills? Oh, I could grow food. I know how to make a garden. There you go. Now you're invaluable. You're feeding people.
There you go. When the zombies take over.
Well, I mean, look down south. There's quite a few zombies down there. Maybe not literally, but there's some down there. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And we'll do it again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's it.